Good day. Welcome to the online session of Nutrition 2 for Pediatrics. I am Dr. Kasubha. The objectives of this session is to analyze pediatric cases pertaining to complementary feeding, feeding disorders, malnutrition, obesity, and vitamin and mineral problems, as well as appropriately manage a child with nutritional problems. What's in store for this session? We will discuss on complementary feeding and feeding across the pediatric age groups, feeding disorders, malnutrition, vitamin deficiencies and excess, micronutrient mineral deficiencies, and overweight and obesity. Nutrition is the process of eating the right kind of food so one can grow properly and be healthy. It is essential for growth, organ maturation, and development. It prevents nutritional deficiencies and affects the child's future health by preventing or ameliorating chronic disease. This is a table of the daily caloric requirement or the TCR for each pediatric age group, as well as the protein requirement for each. TCR, or the total caloric requirement, is computed as the weight multiplied by the kilocalorie requirement for the specific age group. The protein requirement is computed as grams per kilo for the specific age group multiplied by 4. The carbohydrate requirement is computed as 60% of the total caloric requirement minus the protein computed. Fats are the remainder of the TCR. For example, a 1-year-old child who has a weight of 9 kilograms, the caloric requirement is 110 kilocalories. So this is computed as 9 kilograms multiplied by 110 kilocalorie per kilo, amounting to 900 kilocalories. Following the formula of protein requirement, this is computed as 72 kilocalories. Carbohydrates at 522 kilocalories, and the remainder as fats. Complementary feeding are all solid food and liquid food other than breast milk or milk formula. It is also called weaning or bake-off. It is necessary to enable transition from milk feeding to other foods and is important for nutritional and developmental reasons. Weaning should be started between 4 to 6 months of age. According to the World Health Organization, 3 to 4 months or 6 months can be started. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, start weaning at 4 to 6 months of age. According to the Philippine Pediatric Society or PPS, start weaning at 6 months of age. And for the European Society for Pediatric Gastroenterology, Hepatology and Nutrition, it should not occur before 4 months and should not be delayed beyond 6 months. For our setting, we will follow weaning at 6 months of age. Encourage a cup rather than a bottle. Introduce one food at a time. Energy density should exceed that of breast milk. Iron-containing foods are required. Zinc intake should be encouraged. Breast milk should continue to 12 months. And fluids other than breast milk, formula, and water should be discouraged. By 6 months of age, exclusive breastfeeding becomes insufficient to meet the energy and nutrient needs of the growing infant. Between 6 and 24 months of age, there is an energy gap of 200 to 550 kilocalories that needs to be fulfilled by complementary food. According to UNICEF, global data on complementary feeding indicators, very few children are receiving minimum meal frequency or minimum diet diversity. Only 1 in 2 children was fed enough times or enough meals per snacks the previous day. Only 1 in 3 children was fed at least 4 food groups the previous day. and only 1 in 6 children was fed at least 4 food groups and enough meals for snacks the previous day. These are irrespective of sex, area of residence, and wealth quintile. Recommendations for initiating complementary feeding. Introduce one single nutrient ingredient food at a time, at 3 to 5 days interval, to observe for tolerance. Choose foods that provide key nutrients and help meet energy needs. Iron-fortified cereals or pureed meats that are rich in protein, iron, and zinc. Introduce a variety of foods by the end of the first year. This helps to establish healthy eating habits. Withhold cow's milk and other milks not formulated for infants during the first year of life. Ensure adequate calcium intake, and do not give fruit juices during the first 6 months and limited amounts of 100% juice thereafter. Ensure safe ingestion to decrease choking hazards and adequate nutrition. Mashed or pureed solid foods can be given. Avoid hot dogs, nuts, grapes, and popcorn in the first 3 to 4 years of life. These are the guiding principles for complementary feeding. There are 10 guiding principles according to the WHO and UNICEF. The first 2 guidelines pertain to when to feed the child. The next, how to feed the child. The succeeding are what to feed the child. The last 2 guidelines are for special cases. For the first guideline, duration of exclusive breastfeeding and age of introduction of complementary foods, practice exclusive breastfeeding from 0 to 6 months of age. Introduce complementary food at 6 months of age while continuing breastfeeding. The second guideline, maintenance of breastfeeding. Continue frequent, on-demand breastfeeding until 2 years of age and beyond. Number 3, responsive feeding. Feed infants directly and assist older children when they feed themselves, being sensitive to their hunger and satiety cues. Feed slowly and patiently. Do not force feed. In refusal, experiment with different food combinations, taste, textures, and method of encouragement. Minimize distraction. Feeding time is a period of learning and love. Make sure there is eye-to-eye contact. The fourth guideline, safe preparation and storage of complementary foods. These are the 5 keys to safer food. Keep it clean, separate raw and uncooked food, cook thoroughly, keep food at safe temperature, and use safe water and raw materials. Number 5, amount of complementary food needed. Start at 6 months with small amounts of food and increase the quantity as the child gets older. The blue bar depicts the calorie given by breast milk in the different age groups. Notice that the green-colored part of the graph is the amount of calorie to be filled by complementary feeding to achieve the total caloric requirement. Here are the practical guidance on the quality, frequency, and amount of food to offer children 6 to 23 months of age who are breastfed on demand. For 6 to 8 months, give 200 kilocalories per day. Start with 2 to 3 tablespoons per feed, increasing gradually to half of a 250 ml cup. Between 9 to 11 months of age, the child needs 300 kilocalories per day, or give half of a 250 ml cup. Between 12 to 23 months, the child needs 550 kilocalories per day, or 3/4 to a full 250 ml cup. The quantity of complementary feeding should be gradually increased every month while maintaining breastfeeding. As the child grows and develops, the intake of breast milk reduces and more food is needed to meet the energy gap. Food consistency. Gradually increase food consistency and variety as the infant gets older, adapting to infant's requirements and abilities. The consistency of complementary feeding should be gradually increased based on the child's age and neuromuscular development. Specific age and specific development will be shown later in this part. Thicker or more solid food provide more energy and nutrient density compared to thin, watery, or soft food. Feeding thicker and solid food helps to easily introduce several nutrient-rich ingredients such as animal source food. At 6 months, start pureed, mashed, and semi-solid food. By 8 months, finger foods or snacks that can be eaten by the child alone. At 12 months, same type of food consumed by the rest of the family. With regards to texture, by 6 to 8 months, start with thick porridge, well-mashed food, then continue with mashed family food. At 9 to 11 months, finely chopped or mashed food and foods that baby can pick up. At 12 to 23 months, family food, chopped or mashed if needed. Number 7. Meal frequency and energy density. Increase the number of times that the child is fed complementary food as the baby gets older. The number of meals in a day depends on how much energy the child needs to cover energy gap. The more food the child needs each day, the more meals are needed. The amount that the child can eat at one meal. Remember that the child's capacity is 30 ml per kilogram. For example, the child's weight is 8 kilograms, the stomach's capacity is 240 ml. The energy density of the food offered should be more than breast milk, at least 0.8 kilocalories per gram. If energy density of food is lower, large volume of food is needed to fill the gap, which may be divided into more meals. With regards to frequency, by 6 to 8 months, give 2 to 3 meals per day. By 9 to 11 months, give 3 to 4 meals a day. And 12 to 23 months, 3 to 4 meals per day. The frequency of meals offered to the child should be gradually increased if the energy required is greater or if the energy density of food is low. 1 or 2 nutritious snacks may be offered depending on the child's appetite. Number 8. Nutrient content of complementary food. Feed a variety of foods to ensure the nutrient needs are met, like meat, poultry, fish, or eggs can be eaten daily. The blue-colored parts of the bar depicts the contribution of breast milk to a child's need. The green bar is the gap needed to be filled up by complementary feeding. In order to ensure that all the nutrient needs of a growing infant are met, food from a variety of food sources should be added to the usual staple food used for complementary feeding. Additionally, it is important to ensure that complementary feeding provides sufficient quantities of micronutrients such as iron, vitamin A, zinc, calcium, and vitamin C, which are essential for growth, development, and the prevention of illness. Good complementary foods are rich in energy, protein, and micronutrients, particularly iron, zinc, calcium, vitamin A, vitamin C, and folate, as discussed earlier. It should not be spicy or salty. It is easy for the child to eat, liked by the child, and locally available and affordable. A variety of other foods should be added to the staple every day to provide other nutrients. These include food from animal or fish, which provide protein, iron, zinc, and egg yolk provides protein and vitamin A. Dairy products provide calcium, protein, energy, and B vitamins. Orange-colored fruits and vegetables provide carotene and vitamin C. Pulses like peas, beans, lentils, peanuts, and soybeans provide protein and some iron. And fats and oils provide energy and essential fats. Note that vegetarian diets cannot meet nutrient needs at this age unless nutrient supplements or fortified products are used. Avoid giving drinks with low nutrient value like tea, coffee, sugary drinks such as soft drinks. Limit the amount of juice offered to avoid displacing more nutrient-rich foods. Number 9. Use of vitamin mineral supplements or fortified products for infants and mother. In cases of plant-based food, inclusion of animal source foods can meet the gap. Amount of animal source foods that can be easily consumed by infants are generally insufficient to meet the iron gap. In a setting where little or no animal source, use of fortified products or supplements may be needed. And vitamin mineral supplements for mothers should also be done. Feeding during and after illness. Increase fluid intake during illness, including more breastfeeding, and encourage child to eat soft, varied, appetizing favorite food. Fluid requirements of an infant increase during illness. Thus, they need to be offered more fluids, and breastfeeding on demand should be continued. However, the child's appetite for food usually reduces during illness. Since the child may eat less than usual, small amounts of food may be given more frequently. Once the child recovers and appetite improves, offer extra food at each meal or a snack each day. After illness, give food more often than usual and encourage the child to eat more. In feeding toddlers, it is important to know that by 2 years of age, this is the period when eating behaviors and healthful habits can be established. Growth after the first year slows down. They have more activities. The appetite decreases. There can be erratic eating behaviors. Here are the feeding or oral sensory motor skills that each age group can have. These are the basis for the specific complementary food to give. Kindly read through them. These are for the 9 to 12 months of age and the 12 to 18 months of age. For 18 to 24 months and 24 to 36 months. This is the My Pyramid Food Guide from the United States Department for Agriculture. The pyramid is a combination of different food groups to be eaten, as well as the amount of activity that the child should have. Locally, we have nutritional guidelines for Filipinos for each age group according to the Food and Nutrition Institute. This is for Filipino children ages 1 to 6 years old. For 7 to 12 years old, and for 13 to 19 years old. You can also search the Recommended Energy and Nutrient Intakes for Filipinos or RENI. The food pyramid is replaced by the My Plate. It recommends the following. Consume foods from all food groups, namely fruits, vegetables, low-fat dairy products, whole grains, and lean protein foods. Ensure that half of the plate contains fruits and vegetables. Ensure that at least half of the grains on the plate are whole grains. Include a varied choice of protein food. Limit sodium intake and use skimmed or 1% milk. According to the Pediatric Nutrition Handbook of the American Academy of Pediatrics, Parents' responsibilities include choosing the right kind of food, setting the routine, creating a positive, non-stressful mealtime environment, being a role model regarding mealtime as a family time. Parents need to offer new foods repeatedly, 8 to 10 times to establish acceptance or rejection to that food. Offer 3 meals and 2 healthful snacks per day. And teach skills such as handling of spoons and drinking from a cup to encourage self-feeding. There are different nutrition issues There are different nutrition issues across pediatric ages. These are food environment, using food as a reward, cultural considerations in nutrition and feeding, vegetarianism, organic foods, complementary and alternative medicine, functional foods, a dietary and vitamin supplements, and herbal products. For food environment issues, we should know the child's weight and status, know the child's characteristics and child risk factors, like the following: the parenting styles and family characteristics, as well as community, demographic, and social characteristics. This is the end of part 1.